Hello, my name's Matt Speed and this is my top 5 moments from this year on student radio. Yes, so this video is going to be my top 5 moments from my student radio experience for this year. It's something that I'm very passionate about and it's something that will no doubt feature quite heavily on this channel. So I figured for the second video I'm going to introduce you to my experience on student radio and maybe teach you a little bit about what goes into it. As you may know, I'm at university in Sheffield and my student radio is Forge Radio. I'm the head of music for the station, which means that I both present music shows, but also coordinate events and coverage for festivals and other shows and the playlist for the station. So there's quite a lot of facets to the role, but it's really rewarding and I'm really enjoying it. It's something that I'm very passionate about, as I said before. So with that said, let's get into the top 5 moments. So I'm not going to do this in any particular order, it's just going to be probably chronological, honestly, because that's how I've got it written down. The first moment is going to be the summer festivals in 2021. For a bit of context, as you will know, in 2021, we were coming out of the pandemic and social interaction was honestly quite new to all of us, or at least we had to sort of relearn that feeling. And the summer festivals were an amazing place to do that. I got to interview a lot of artists, particularly at Tramlines, where I talked to Lauren Hibbard, Holly Humberstone, the Snuts, Everything, and a couple of others. So lots of rising stars and some more established artists. It was an amazing experience. When we got the passes for the radio, I wasn't sure what to expect, but it ended up being one of the best weekends of my life and really kind of affirming my love of Sheffield as well as my interest in media and talking to artists. It was just kind of crazy to see the behind the scenes and how the festivals sort of operate. It was really interesting. Royal Blood played and I lost my voice on the first night, which wasn't great if you're going to be talking to people. And after the gig, I think that was the first moment where I realised, wow, yeah, we're out of this pandemic now, we're back. Live music is back, community is back, social interaction is back, because after the band left the stage, long after the band left the stage, there were hundreds and probably thousands of people still there. They put on 500 Miles by the Proclaimers and everyone was going da 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 da. It was a good moment. And then Leeds Festival a bit later on in the summer was also awesome. We got to actually camp at the festival. The Leeds Festival is so massive, and so it was like a city in a field. It was bizarre but amazing, and again got to watch some amazing artists. Highlight for me, Biffy Clyro on the Friday, got to the front. That is something that will stay with me forever. I'll drop in a photo here, but that was brilliant. And yeah, again got to talk to some cool artists, and I managed to talk to D-Mob Happy, one of my favourite bands, 3-piece rock band from Newcastle, based in Brighton, I think. Brilliant live band. I want to go and see them on tour again, but I got to talk to them and I was absolutely fangirling. So yeah, Leeds Fest was amazing, and Tramlines was great too. Summer festivals, really strong start to the year for student radio. I was like, if that's the start before we're even broadcasting or doing anything, then it can only get better, and it definitely did. So the second top moment was actually my first show, which was called Forge Flashback. And it was a show basically curated by actual alumni of the university. They got in contact and sent in their memories of university and their favourite tunes from the time that they were based there. And basically it was a 2-hour show where we'd play some retro tunes, read out messages, and basically allow these alumni to sort of reminisce and have that 2 hours to just think about their time at university. And it was really beautiful, and I think it was one of the first times where I sort of thought, wow, student radio is such an important thing. Student radio is such a sort of powerful thing, a powerful medium, because it's very specific. It's specific to a very key moment in a lot of people's lives, in a lot of people's development, it changes you as a person. And I think student radio really is almost about recognising and marking that importance of being a student, of that time in your life where you go from being a kid in school to being an adult. And that show was really cool for that, and it was just fun as well. I think I've got a photo, so I'll stick it in there. The third moment was actually when I launched my shows for the year. Now, the first one was a flagship music show for the station. It's called New Music Monday, and we would read the music news, we'd play the best new tunes, and on special occasions we'd have some local artists or maybe artists from further afield join us in the studio, and we'd interview them, and they'd stick around, and they'd curate the show. They'd help to provide some entertainment for the audience, and it was really good fun. And actually that live experience is so special, because it doesn't matter who's listening. It doesn't matter if there's 100 people listening or if there's one person listening. You're curating your experiences and your feelings about the music to that person, and you can really sort of nerd out about the music, which I really love. And that was basically what I did on my other show called The Alternative Hour, where I play, as you might guess, alternative music and indie music. And that was kind of my favourite show to do, because I'd just be able to play my favourite tunes and just nerd out for an hour. And it was really good fun. But getting to grips with the live setup and playing tunes and getting this the satisfaction of getting a really smooth link where you convey your emotions and your feelings about the music, and maybe some interesting facts about the music in a really concise manner that sounds good. That satisfaction when you've nailed it, when you've planned it out, you know what you're going to say, and you absolutely nail it. That was like such a satisfying moment. And I loved that. So funnily enough, the third top moment was just actually doing radio and actually being live. I love it, and I know that it's my passion, and it's something I want to keep doing. The fourth big moment was actually Varsity, which is completely unmusic related, so I'll keep it brief. But Varsity in Sheffield was a massive event. It was the first time in I think 2 or 3 years that they'd managed to do it. If you've not heard of a Varsity before, it's where 2 universities come together in sporting events and compete for points to see who's the best university at football or whatever. And for the Varsity coverage that we did at the student radio, I actually got to commentate on the women's football. We were actually pitch side on Google Meet doing the commentary into our phones, which was going to the studio, and it was like super low tech, but it was like a moment of like, this is student radio. It felt like a proper like university moment, from like the people playing the sports and competing to the supporters on the sides to us in the student media where we were covering it. And it felt like a proper like community moment. So I don't know if I've got some photos, but if I do, I'll stick them in here. So moving on to the final top 5 moment, it was SRA Con, which is the Student Radio Association conference. And it happens every year, although I think this is the first time since the pandemic that it had happened. It was 3 days in Newcastle, at the University of Newcastle, where we just were absolutely bombarded by industry knowledge. We had lots of workshops with professionals, presenters such as Vic and Jordan, Katie Thistleton, people like Dev Griffin from Heart, and loads of others, producers, directors, heads of stations, all sorts. And they would tell us about their experience of the industry, how they came to do it, what goes into making a radio show, from producer's side of things. Even doing student radio, you don't know what goes into making radio shows, well, on a professional side anyway. And that was really interesting, really important, and super inspiring as well. Like, there was a presenter called Nels Hilton who does Future Alternative on Radio 1 at the moment, and he went through his journey from like the first time he was on radio to where he is now, and sort of that idea of improvement. It was really sick. It was really inspiring. It made me know that I do want to do radio. I do want to be part of the music industry in taste making, alongside my own musical projects and everything like that. I think music curation is a really important part of the industry where, breakthrough artists will only get certain places if they are heard. And as a radio presenter, as a radio producer, your job is to find those artists and play them. The music industry is basically an ecosystem of the musicians make the art, but the art will not be found unless the radio and the promotion is there. And I think radio presenting is such an important part of that, and I want to be part of it. And SRAcon just really inspired me to do that, as well as being there with some of my friends from student radio. We had a lovely time in Newcastle, walking around and going to the various events, the parties, and the awards and everything like that. It was really cool. Yeah, that was a really big part of the year, SRAcon. It was sort of the culmination of the year, I think. It wasn't long before the broadcasting stopped for the year on Forge, and it was brilliant. It was so cool, and I got to stand in a real Radio 1 studio, which was super cool. So yeah. Anyway, that will conclude my top 5 student radio moments from this year. I hope you've enjoyed watching and kind of seeing what I got up to on student radio. If you are about to be a student or are a student and you're thinking student radio sounds like a good thing to do, then I'd recommend it. Absolutely, I think it's brilliant. And it's a massive part of my life, so I thought it was only right to share on the YouTube channel. So forgive me for being a little bit self-indulgent. And I hope it's been, entertaining and interesting for you to listen to. Anyway, that'll be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to leave a like, that would be massively appreciated. If you'd want to comment on anything I've said, if you want to ask me some questions about student radio or radio in general, or just any random question, to be fair, fire away in the comments below. I'll be there to answer. Please consider subscribing if you like the video, and I will be back soon with another. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.